Hey everyone, welcome to 996 The Howl for the uninitiated. This is an unedited YouTube vlog discussing everything Arizona Coyotes, and thank goodness I waited to the last possible moment to make this video because John the Monster Chayka makes another transaction. He acquires Eric Comrie from the Winnipeg Jets off waivers, a goalie, young goalie, Canadian goalie, pretty sure. Trying to find his footing into the NHL, and the Arizona Coyotes community was a bit, puzzled as to why this transaction transpired. Was there something wrong with Adin Hill? Did he request a trade? Is someone injured? Is Ranta injured long term? But I think my reasoning for this move was to just, replace Calvin Pickard's job last season with Eric Comrie. And as we all know, Pickard barely played for the Arizona Coyotes. I believe he started only one game, one of the last games of the season. But, Pickard was there just in case another injury occurred. But Darcy Kemper decided to run away with the starting role last season. I feel like Comrie's position this year would just be, if Ranta or Kemper want to take a practice off or a game off, Comrie is there for the guys to practice on and, to ride the bench when the other starter makes an appearance, instead of always calling up Adin Hill and disrupting the groove he has in Tucson. So that's my hypothesis. It could change, obviously, with the recording of this video, and 10 minutes after I upload, Chayka could trade Adin Hill, which I don't want, but it could very well possibly happen. Moving on for that is a preview of the season. 2 more nights until the Coyotes hit the ice in Anaheim for their season opener. And the roster is finalized. Hayden made the roster. Soderstrom got sent back to Sweden, which, a couple people were assuming that Soderstrom was going to go down to the Tucson Roadrunners and play on North American ice and get a feel for the Coyotes system. But John Chayka decides to send him to Sweden. For whatever reason that is, he still plays with adult men in Sweden, so it doesn't really matter. It's still his hometown, his home country. He's more comfortable there. So maybe Chayka doesn't want to disrupt his home life and bring him to a new world in Tucson and just let him stay in Sweden for another year and season there. And then next year, hopefully he makes a roster. But Barrett Hayden makes a roster. Congratulations to him. He looked really good in the preseason. More skilled than Dylan Strome, I would say. I'm comparing him to Strome because he's like the last forward we had who was trying to break into the roster. And it was a centerman as well. So Barrett Hayden seems like he has a higher ceiling than Dylan Strome. He's already more comfortable with the puck. He likes to shoot. Makes great plays, so I'm excited to see what he brings to the roster. On the defensive side, it's still pretty much the same compared to last year. Lyubushkin will be the 7th D-man rotating in. And then Hjalmarsson, Goligoski, OEL, Demers, Chikrin, and Osterley round out the defensive core. I'm happy with the defensive core. They already spent a whole year together, so it's good that there's no new faces on the defensive side, neither the goalie side as well. The only fresh faces are on the forward lines with Phil Kessel and Carl Soderberg. Now, there's been some lineups rumored. Last practice, they had Krause, Soderberg, and Fisher on a line, which is a huge, big boy, thick line. And they were put together against Vancouver last Thursday, their second last preseason game. And I like that line. They forced a goal by Victor Soderstrom by playing a heavy, relentless forecheck on the Vancouver's D-men. Carl Soderberg's a nice veteran there, and he's capable of scoring 20 goals. So that's some good added depth, and he's going to be the center of that line. And then because of that, Dvorak got moved to the wing, I believe, with Schmaltz and Garland. Surprised to see Garland on the second line, and then Hinostroza was on the 4th line with Grabner and Richardson, but you can barely call that a 4th line. I mean, that line is really good. So I don't expect the Coyotes to run like a 1-2-3-4. It's just going to be a bunch of lines who can all score and all play a two-way game. You got Stepan down the middle as well, centering the top line with Kessel and Keller. So we'll see if that changes, but I'm very excited for this team. A lot of promise. Everyone's expecting a playoff spot and a playoff, appearance. If you watch my playoff prediction video a couple months ago, maybe 1 month ago, I'll put it in the description below. But I predicted the Coyotes would make the second wild card spot due to the fact that I thought they should have made the wild card spot last season in my prediction video. And they ended up coming up close. They're 4 points away, riddled with injuries, missing their starting goaltender for half the season, and a huge slew of other important players were lost to injury. So I feel like this year, with a healthy core and everyone knows each other, everyone knows the system except for Kessel and Soderberg. Just these players seem comfortable, and I could already see that in the preseason games nearing the end, especially that Vancouver game. I felt the team was excelling at all fronts except scoring a lot of goals, but Keller and Kessel weren't playing that game. But I'm just excited for this team. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I feel like the Pacific Division is kind of open, aside from the top 2 spots, and then the top 3 spots. Just Calgary's goaltending worries me, and if Calgary's goaltending falters, I feel like Coyotes have a good chance to pick up that 3rd spot. But that's too much wishful thinking. Put them at the wild card, even though the Central Division looks like a bloodbath already. But that's it. New coach, a new defensive coach in Phil Housley. We'll see how he performs. A lot of room to fill in the shoes left by Scott Allen, who brought this team up from the basement defensively, and they finished 6th in the league in terms of goals against last season. So hopefully Phil Housley can continue that success and even raise it a little bit to top 5. We'll see if he can do that. But yeah, it's almost here. We could almost see Phil Kessel in a Coyotes jersey. I feel like Keller's going to have a breakout year, over 60 points for sure. There's just no way that he's going to hit below 50 points with this power play unit that they're going to send out. And him and Schmaltz already had great chemistry last season, so they should just continue based off that. Adding in Phil Kessel should do nothing but increase his point totals. And penalty killing is always great. With a healthy Grabner, healthy Richardson. Expect to see Dvorak on the penalty kill as well. Dvorak's my question mark. Him and Fisher are my question marks for the upcoming season. They need to produce. They need to score 15 goals for sure. And then it would be really nice for them to hit that 20-goal mark. But Fisher and Dvorak need to be more consistent offensively. Fisher maybe work on his defensive side, but Dvorak's got the defensive side figured out. Hopefully with him playing the wing with better centermen like Schmaltz or Stepan or even Soderberg, he could pot in a few more points. He was injured for like 60 or 70 games last season, so we can cut the guy a break. But this season he really needs to show that he's worth the contract he signed with John Shaika, and it would really help the depth of this team. And I also expect Hinostroza to have a big year. He looked amazing in the preseason. So confident with the puck, so skilled, making skilled plays and confident plays. And he was hungry for the puck, and that was just great to see Hinostroza do that in the preseason. And hopefully he takes the next step here. But other than that, I'm excited. I hope all of you are excited for this upcoming season. It's a big season, a fresh new face, and Phil Kessel's on the team. Such a dynamic player and a familiar NHL face that this team hasn't seen in a while. I just expect a really good season from this team. This team is well coached, and if they just solve their goal scoring problems, this team should not falter in the slightest. Really excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see Keller. I want to get his jersey, so hopefully he has a good start to the season, and I'll purchase one. But yeah, guys, I'm just so excited for this team and see what they can do, and I can't wait for the season to start. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support.